We're here at the Clueless night for International Women's Day in partnership with the Girls Network, we're ambassadors who had recently been through the mentee program.
Yeah. I'm KT Tunstall. I think they're going to ask me some questions.
Yes. So what made you want to get involved with the Girls Network?
So it was such an exciting convergence of things that meant that we're just about to get to our opening night next week, but we thought that we would have another event because it's International Women's Day, and of course beloved Cher is our lead character, and there are also some other great female characters in this story and in the amazing original film that we've now turned into a musical. And really it's about being able to make mistakes and learn and forgive yourself for getting things wrong, and looking to friends around you to help you through those situations, and not feeling like you've got to know everything. You can ask for help and you can ask questions, and I think that just lines up so brilliantly from what I know the Girls Network do. It just seems like amazing work. How did you guys find it going through the program? What were your experiences?
My mentor was mostly helping me prepare for college interviews because I wanted to go into catering. So we sort of talked about interview skills, and I was not particularly confident. So she kind of helped me with that and how to boost my confidence so I could come across.
I mean, you're doing an interview on camera now in the West End. That's pretty good.
I would not have done it then.
Really?
So.
Do you think you wouldn't have been able to do that before?
Absolutely not.
Amazing. That's testament to how great the program is, isn't it?
Yes.
In my program, we were working around my confidence, because at the time I signed up because it was that one thing that I didn't need my friends for, or that I could do by myself. So we did little exercises like thinking about life and going and doing talks with strangers.
Amazing.
So slowly we were building up my confidence.
Yeah, and I really relate to that because I love playing music, I love doing shows, but no one teaches you how to talk to people in between. So when I started, I would be doing gigs and I knew how to play songs, but I really didn't know how to talk to the audience in between, and it could be really awkward because it's a room full of strangers. And actually my younger brother is profoundly deaf, and he is a tennis coach, and he would talk to these big rooms of people. And I said, how do you have the confidence to do that? And he said, just imagine you're talking to one person that you really love. And that was such an amazing piece of advice, of just sending out love to these people. Even though you've never met, you just try and find that connection. And I think finding that confidence as a young woman can just change your life. It just means that you can say yes to opportunities, you can meet people that you might not have met, and you can walk down the street in a big city and feel good about yourself,
My question is around, so the Girls Network mostly I feel goes around if you can see it, you can be it. Mm-hmm. So how would you say being a woman in the industry is for you? Yeah. And kind of what do you want to show young girls?
That's such a great question. And I think for me, particularly being a musician, there's not that many British female musicians my age. So I'm 50 this year. You guys are only 12, the Girls Network. So not you two, obviously, but the Girls Network. It's your birthday today. They're 12 years old today. But so at my age, I got my record deal pretty late. I was 29. And a lot of the other female artists who were out at the same time were about 10 years younger than me. And I used to put 1975 on KT Tunstall on my T-shirts because I wanted people to know what age I was, because it felt really important for me to represent for my age group, because I didn't want young girls to think that they might want to get into music or art, but then, what is it just all over when you're 39? What happens? And so I think it's really important for me to share my vitality and my experience and the joy of it being this age. So, being 50 is my favourite age. I'm not there quite yet. I've got a few months left. But I love this time in life because, you've been through the anxiety of your 20s and, your 30s wanting to achieve all the things that you're dreaming about. And so I love sort of being something for young girls to look at and just go, yeah, I could do that too.
My next one is because the Girls Network mostly works for young girls in disadvantaged backgrounds, and a lot of the time, a lot of us go through imposter syndrome the second that we kind of are in rooms that we're not meant to be in usually. So what would you say around imposter syndrome?
Yeah, it's definitely real. I think everybody can get that, whoever you are, and especially young women if you haven't had experience of different environments, you know, because I think as girls we think that we should be a little quieter and we should sort of, you know, play nice, and you don't want to be brash and unpleasant and all of those things. I heard this amazing story about Neil Armstrong, the first man to go to the moon, and he was it was a guy had gone to a conference about imposter syndrome. I think it was about imposter syndrome, and there was an old man next to him. And he said, it was about achievement. That's what it was. It was about great achievements. And he said, there was an old man next to him. And he said, I don't know why I'm here. People just told me to go somewhere. I went there and I came back again. And it was Neil Armstrong. And he was like, why am I here? You know, he didn't feel able to even own that achievement himself. It felt like all these other people. And I think that that's a really important story where we're grateful to all the people who teach us along the way, and that's what the Girls Network is about having some mentorship and learning from other people's experience and being grateful and leaning on those people, asking for that help. And in those moments where you think you're somewhere you shouldn't be, hopefully you've then got a voice in your head just going, don't worry about it. Everybody feels like that. But if you let that get the better of you, you're going to lose some really exciting adventures and opportunities that come your way. So you've just got to be brave and plow on through. Keep on keeping on. That's what Bob Dylan said.
So what would be the biggest recommendation you'd have for young girls now to get them to like believe in themselves instead of like, you know, not feeling like they should be confident?
That's a fantastic question, and it's a really important question because you can talk and talk and talk, but at the end of the day, what do you actually do, you know, to get to the next step? And what I would say is, as a musician, one gig is worth 100 rehearsals. So, and I'm about to go outside and play on the street, and that was one of the hardest things I remember doing was busking for the first time because I felt like such an idiot. I just felt like I was going to get laughed at, you know, and no one was going to give me any money, and it was just going to be so embarrassing. And it kind of was embarrassing. But then I went and did it the next day, and it wasn't embarrassing at all because I'd done it before and everything was fine. And so I think my biggest piece of advice would be, if you're scared of it, it probably means you should do it. And just really push yourself that very first time to do something that you've never done before. And if it's terrible, don't do it again. But just go for it that first time. Push yourself through the fear of it and the nerves of it and just feel terrible and maybe make a mess of it. But once you've done it once, it's much easier to do it a second time.
My one is just around careers because the Girls Network kind of introduce young girls to like different careers out there as well. And I feel like music is the one that feels very gate-kept, especially going into. So what advice would you give to young girls who are interested in it?
So getting into music is very hard. It's just an old school hustle. You have to have a fairly thick skin. You've got to be very determined. I didn't have any money through all my 20s. My parents were like losing their hair, worried about me because quite clearly I was like 29 before I got my record deal. They didn't think it was going to happen. Not really anyone around me thought it was going to happen. But I felt like I don't want to do anything else with my life. This is what I want to do. So one thing that I would say, if any girls are wanting to get into music, and especially if you're a live player like me, you have to put the work in. You've got to get really good at what you do. So you don't want to, by the time someone actually comes to see you playing and you've got an opportunity there, you don't want to still be practicing at that point. So there's a whole theory about putting 10,000 hours in. And sitting in your bedroom doing it is not the same as going out and actually playing on the street, playing for your friends, playing for your family, playing at Christmas, just whatever it is you're passionate about. Make sure you get used to doing it in front of other people, build up your confidence, say yes to every opportunity, even if you're not making any money, and get really good at what it is you want to do. And then luck will luck will come your way, because when you get those opportunities, you can really slay, as Sharon Dion would say. Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be paired up with the Girls Network for the Clueless Gala Night.